The Lakers made their postseason debut last night against the Pelicans, and it didn't start out well at all. LeBron looked like he was struggling against all that length and athletic ability of the Pelicans, and nobody could make shots even when they were easy, leading to 9 points in transition in the first quarter alone. Their defensive rotations were wonky as Rui has no reason to fully rotate to CJ with Reeves already in position, giving up an open three to Ingram. But then Darvin Ham went to his secret lineup, one that had only played 24 minutes together in the regular season, and it basically won the game for LA. Make no mistake, Gabe Vincent is a difference maker, and his absence all year long really hurt the Lakers. They run pistol action with LeBron as Vincent flies in there for the screen before Hayes hands it off. Trey Murphy sniffs this out and gambles for the steal. The nice spin gets LeBron attacking an advantage with his defender on his hip. Zion has to step up and stop the penetration, and because Daniels bumps down hard, he doesn't lob it to Hayes, and instead loops it to Vincent in the corner. Had Daniels not slipped, he might have gotten to it and caused the miss, but Vincent can take his time with a nice rhythm dip into the high arcer that drops clean through. Here's another clip that makes me think LeBron was going to struggle with all these athletes around him, but Zion can't finish through perfect defense with verticality by Hayes at the rim, which means James was still back there recovering and can get those 2 points back with the one-hander. It's the Pelicans' turn to run pistol with a pin away into handoff, and Taurean Prince was in rare form. He switches the screen and then just makes Larry Nance look foolish with a takeaway. He looks even more foolish attempting to take a charge on LeBron here, and check how Hayes had to lean back to avoid smacking his face on the rim. The Lakers come down and spread the floor with 4 shooters and Hayes. Watch Zion as he guards D'Lo. He has no reason to be this low while the screen is happening, and it puts him a step behind the action. The refs were letting him play, so the slight push by Daniels and what looks like contact of the shoulder by Zion was ignored as Russell drops another bucket to cut the lead to 1. The defensive concepts the Pelicans employed last night were a little confusing to me. First off, Valanciunas is defending in the pick and roll, and instead of getting into proper drop coverage here, where the direction of the screen is taking D'Lo, he sprints to the other side of this action. Now watch what Zion and Daniels do on the weak side. These are 2 good shooters spotting up, so why is he dropping down into a switch, leaving Daniels with an 18-foot closeout to Prince? If they want Daniels to take the drop coverage, then Zion needs to split the difference between these 2 players and close out to where the pass goes to. Then Daniels can get to LeBron in the corner, but that doesn't happen, and the Lakers are taking control of this game. Here's another example of the Pelicans' defensive coverage that doesn't make sense to me. With this step-up screen, Valanciunas is in drop coverage. Watch Herb Jones leave his men in the corner to get to the dotted line even though they didn't need him to be there. Now, CJ need only stare at the ball and close out to wherever the ball is passed. He was too slow with the half-hearted contest, and now the Lakers are on their way to outscoring the Pelicans by 5 made 3-pointers. In the regular season, when a team made that many more threes than their opponent, they won 75% of the time. The Pelicans might have been surprised they got outshot from 3 by a team that took the 3rd fewest triples by frequency in the league. But when you go up against defense like this, you'll be hitting those money balls, just like using Sleeper, the ultimate fantasy sports app. What's cool is that you can set your over-under picks before the game or do it live while it's happening. Just pick at least 2 players and whether they'll get more or less from a host of different stats, and you can win up to 100 times your money. So I did 5 picks for a massive payout on Saturday's games and went across all of them, and I'm thinking that maybe D'Lo is not going to get over 5.5 assists in that game. I think Jokic is going to have a monster game, 50.5 points, rebounds, assists total. We got Banchero. I'm assuming he's going to have a good game. He's going to let everyone know what he's about in the playoffs. Kevin Durant, I think he's going to easily score more than 23.5 points. And then you got Mike Conley. I'm not sure he's going to get a block out there. And by choosing a little bit of money to begin with, you can win a whole lot of money at the end if you hit all 5. So what are you waiting for? And if you use my code BBALL100, they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $500. There are so many ways to win. It raises the stakes when you watch it, so what are you waiting for? Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. I love seeing LeBron in the post, and because the Pelicans targeted him in the pick and roll, it forced a switch and a contest of the 3. Now, CJ has to guard LeBron, so they go right down low on that right block to take advantage of the severe size mismatch. More problematic defensive rotations by New Orleans. I'm not a fan of doubling the post off the strong side cutter. Often it leads to an easy layup back to the cutter. While they rotate to prevent that, they sent 2 defenders to Reeves. Big mistake. Zion is outnumbered 3-1 on the weak side. Great cut by AD to suck McCollum into the paint. Their only hope was Zion splitting the difference between these two and then using his speed to get to Rui. But he decided to just take away the corner altogether, and CJ has too far to go as Hachimura hits the open triple. It felt like LeBron needed to remind everyone who he is, and what better way to do that than grab the defensive board, push the ball up, and catch Ingram not prepared to guard him until it was too late. He gets trucked out of bounds as the ball is being laid in. More interesting rotations that many teams will execute. On the handoff, Nance will pick up the ball and CJ will chase into a double while Zion rotates all the way over from his man in the right corner to pick up the rolling Davis. This leaves Ingram dealing with a player under the basket and a shooter in the corner, and all of this directly in front of Reeves, who can make an easy read. While they avoided giving up a shot immediately, Prince does that Steph Curry thing where he drives, kicks, and immediately replaces to the three-point line. Ingram tries to push Nance over there, but it's way too late. Let's watch a more traditional approach to defending this type of action. Instead of CJ rotating all the way from the corner to pick up AD, they just switch it. This is a better way to defend as a team in my opinion, up until Nance fouls Reeves and gives them 2 more free throws, where the Lakers, as usual, took 14 more over the course of the game. And if you're going to get outshot from 3 and the charity stripe like this, it's almost impossible to win the game. Midway through the 4th, and the Lakers had maintained that lead, but the Pelicans were about to explode back in this game behind Zion. On this switch, Davis doesn't have the lateral quickness anymore to handle someone like Williamson using a gallop dribble to get by him to the basket. And friend of the breakdown Trey Murphy continues to demonstrate he has unlimited range despite the decent contest by Reeves. All the good movement that forced the Pelicans' weak side defense out of whack goes away during crunch time in favor of matchup hunting for LeBron. However, the clock starts winding down too far before they can force a switch they want, so he goes one-on-one against a version of his younger self. He likes to clear out the right side of the floor as much as possible to move any potential help out of the way, but surprisingly drives left and almost gets the layup until Zion knocks it away. Because LeBron is slow getting back, Reeves feels like he has to get in position in front of Zion here, opening up his man Jose Alvarado for the open 3 to cut it to 2. Lakers fans like to criticize Darvin Ham for not calling timeouts, and they were probably yelling at the screen here after this run by the Pelicans, but had he called the timeout, they wouldn't have caught Zion out of position to defend the inside pick and roll, and Larry Nance a step slow and rotating to help, which ironically forces Willie Green to call the timeout instead. Nice set from Green as Alvarado runs get action with Nance out top. LeBron gets completely caught ball watching and allows his man to get right to the rim. With some luck, they didn't call this a foul as well. Rather than have LeBron dribble the ball and screen for him to force a switch, they prefer to have LeBron set the screen and make the defense switch themselves. With a mouse in the house, the only question is, from where will the double team come from? I don't quite understand why it's D'Lo diving to the hoop to open up a skip to Rui. These two should be switched. Now you've got Rui trying to be a dribble drive artist. Nothing comes out of it except a 35-footer at the end of the shot clock, and directly leads to Reeves guarding Zion in transition, and it goes about as well as you'd expect. Here's the LeBron screen again that forces a switch, and again I feel like they have the personnel in the wrong positions. Get D'Lo spotting up on the opposite wing to stretch the defense and put Rui out top to dive. Instead, they circle Reeves around in the middle, hit Rui, and credit to him for catching Zion slow to rotate down on the Reeves pass to the wing, letting Davis get the ball for the easy putback. Here's where the Pelicans season might have gone down in flames. They want to run pistol for Zion with the handoff into ball screen. Check how LeBron shades him on that side to prevent him from using the screen to his strong left hand. However, the rescreen gets AD on him and Zion again takes him into the paint. Unfortunately, he hurts his left hamstring with his floater. Asking the Pelicans to win a close game without Zion Williamson for the last 3 minutes is too much to ask. I think Ham will have to decide if they want to grind their offense down to matchup hunting, considering how little motion they get and how the lack of rhythm can disrupt your role players, as this play finds CJ desperately trying to stay in front of LBJ, with Murphy coming over to help but takes a bad angle and puts LeBron on the line. Meanwhile, the Pelicans continue to find different ways to run a handoff into ball screen, this time out top with CJ and Alvarado into the step-up screen from Nance. I invented a new defense where you zone up and play the ball from behind. It looks a lot like this, except the weak side wing should be on that left block. Perfect position to take away the easy roll pass to Nance for the dunk. On the sideline out of bounds, the Lakers can't force a switch of CJ onto LeBron, and with the clock under 10, they just go straight ISO to him on a terrific defender. Despite the good D, LeBron just rises up and fades away from 22 feet and cold hits the tiebreaker, letting the crowd know it's all inevitable. One more time, LeBron screens the ball to force Alvarado to switch onto him. The Pelicans continue to double from one pass away laterally, and LeBron probably would have preferred the travel call on him as he leaves his feet, then comes back down before releasing the pass, which led to this turnover and the pivotal play of the game. D'Lo does not run back with any urgency, Alvarado does, so gets right to the basket on the cut. But instead of attempting the shot through severe contact by Reeves, Alvarado just blindly throws it to the corner where Russell expertly read where he thought Alvarado would throw it. And because Alvarado ends up on the ground writhing around, the Lakers can come down 5-on-4, hit Alvarado's man, Murphy has to step up to stop the ball, and they get the beginning of the end as AD smashes down the lob. Nursing a 1-point lead, CJ goes underneath the screen so he doesn't have to switch. I'd have done it again and taken my chances with the Reeves 3. Instead, McCollum chases over the top, Jones won't leave LeBron alone, but the help should never come from the strong side corner here. Nance should be sliding over, Murphy drops down. By Daniels going into full help, it's the absolute easiest pass for a high schooler to make, and D'Lo just about ends the game. With the game winding down, LeBron almost loses his mind on Rui, intent to get him over to the right side of the floor to keep his man away from the ball. There's LeBron clearing out the left wing, and he doesn't really use a move, just galloping to his left, drawing two, and forcing up this low percentage shot. But a big reason why they brought AD to LA was for plays like this. It's hard to deal with an air ball as a defender, and AD draws a shooting foul. Not playing Brandon Ingram down the stretch when Zion was already in the locker room is a decision Willie Green answered for in the postgame interview and most likely regrets.
I just liked the group that was on the floor at the time, and B.I. is still getting back. He's still finding his rhythm, so I didn't want to force the issue, and I liked the group that was going. They had some momentum going there.
The game ended on free throws, with Reggie Miller suggesting something utterly preposterous.
If he makes the first one, you're up 3. Do you try to purposely miss the second one knowing that they don't have any timeouts?
They have no timeouts.
And they've got to go coast to coast, because as soon as you miss it, time is going to start as soon as it's touched. Or do you just make them both, be up 4, and game over?
With this much time left on the clock, you never miss a chance to go up by 4 points and end the game. Never. Ever. Please. And now the Pelicans will have to deal with the Kings without Zion, a very tall order, and the Lakers get an early rematch from last year, something I suspect will end in a similar result, but with more games.